The doctrine of precedent, stare decisis, says that a lower court is bound by the precedents of a higher court. Not every single word, though. When we look at those precedents, we identify the ratio decidendi, the core reasoning for the decision. That ratio decidendi is what binds the lower courts. Identifying the ratio is often not entirely straightforward, but normally a reasonably well-informed legal analysis can identify the ratio of a judgment. What happens, though, when the earlier judgment was made by a bench where judges agreed to the outcome but had completely different reasoning? Whose ratio decidendi becomes binding? That question arose in this case. Mark Jones's inattention led him to walk into a glass sliding door. The door broke and Jones was injured. He sued the landlord because although the door met the standards for the time when it had been installed, it didn't meet contemporary standards. To identify the duty of care, the courts had to consider an earlier case called northern sandblasting. In that case, in the High Court, 4 judges found a duty of care and 3 did not. Of the 4 judges in the majority, 2 found one specific basis for a duty of care, and the other 2 found an entirely different basis. So what was the rule? How do we work out the ratio when there's no majority in favour of any particular reasoning? Justices Gummow and Haynes said, "The authority of a decision reached in this way for later cases in trial courts and intermediate courts of appeal is a matter of debate. One view is that in such an instance there is no discernible ratio decidendi, so that the later court is free to decide the legal issues for itself and to adopt any reasoning which appears to it to be correct, so long as that reasoning supports the actual decision in the earlier case." A variant of these views is that a later court is bound to apply the earlier decision if the circumstances in the instant case cannot reasonably be distinguished from those which gave rise to the earlier decision. From this case, we learn that if no coherent ratio decidendi emerges from a case, then the case doesn't really have broader application. Its reasoning can't be ignored entirely, but if a later case is at all factually different, the precedent may not apply.